Hello everybody, MaxZardX here, back at it again to give you another very exciting video. And for today, yes, it is finally the time that Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it is finally out there in the wild. And oh shoot, it's been quite a crazy lead up for the events of this game, since we knew that it was basically called the sequel to Breath of the Wild, but now it's finally in our hands. I'm going through it right now, playing through it, having a phenomenal time. I'll probably have some impression video thoughts and stuff like that, probably dropping out on my podcast episode Sunday night, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan though. But in today's video, I just want to go through and reminisce and talk about my Legend of Zelda experience. How did I get into the Legend of Zelda, the different games I managed to play throughout the whole entire series though, and then just kind of get some thoughts out here, just kind of make a mental note for myself for all of the different things I kind of want to hope and wish that I get to see and get the experience in this game for Tears of the Kingdom. And that way, hopefully everything lives up to the hype and stuff like that. I'm just genuinely excited that this game is finally out there for all of us to go through and play. It's a happy launch day for everyone though. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing and dropping here on this channel though. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into this video. Legend of Zelda. Oh shoot. And this sword right here means quite a bit to me though, because it's kind of interesting how I got my start with Legend of Zelda, because for a lot of people, it might have started with Ocarina of Time. Some people might have started with A Link to the Past. And some, the oldies out there might have started with, Legend of Zelda on the NES or Zelda 2. But for me personally, it's kind of interesting how I started my Legend of Zelda experience at the very beginning of the timeline. I know that timeline split crazily. Like you start with Skyward Sword and, you work your way down and you have like, Link, the fallen version, him being successful, him being gone out of the world. It's weird how crazy this timeline gets and trying to wrap your mind up around it though. But for me, I started with Skyward Sword, and that released back on the Wii. Oh golly, man, it's already been over a decade, gosh dang it. But I literally started off at the very beginning of the timeline though, and it was interesting because I always knew Link thanks to Smash Brothers and stuff like that, and that's kind of my interaction with him and whatnot, and I knew there was Zelda and whatnot, but I didn't know too much more beyond it besides, Ganondorf being up in there though. But one fateful day, my brother decided to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna ask to get Skyward Sword. It was either a birthday or a Christmas gift or something like that, and he managed to get it, and I saw him playing through it, and I was like, oh, so this is Link and where he's kind of been at in his actual game or whatnot though. So while he was going through and playing through it, when he wasn't playing through it, I decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna go through it. And just kind of going through those opening moments of Faron Woods and stuff like that, moving from the sky down below. I don't know, it was just such like a magical feeling. I was like, oh gosh, this is another Nintendo game that I've been personally sleeping out of. I used to do a lot of Pokemon and Mario up until that point though, but Legend of Zelda, I just never kind of gave it the time or day or whatnot though. I was so enthralled in my experience, kind of going through there, fighting Him and stuff like that. Very interesting antagonist right there though, and then leading all the way up to the events of Demise and stuff like that. I was so enthralled with this experience that as soon as I was done playing that game, I immediately went up into, what was it, Master Quest or whatnot, where the difficulty got harder, thinking there was going to be something extra up in there. Really, there wasn't. It was just a difficulty increase though. But outside of that, I was like, man, that game was freaking phenomenal right there. I was like, whole freaking shoot though. And then since then, I kind of went through and played some other games here and there. I managed to go through and play Twilight Princess. I actually went through and played Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask right there. Now that, oh golly, that's a game right there, because I thought Legend of Zelda was this kind of happy-ish. I knew like you saw crazy stuff with Demise and stuff in Skyward Sword and whatnot, but I thought Legend of Zelda was just kind of, just your average RPG-ish kind of thing, not getting super crazy or scary. Majora's Mask definitely proved me wrong on that thing, because whole shoot, I don't think we had another Zelda game like that to this day. Yes, there are some other games out there in the series that kind of get close to it, but as the overall spread, it's just crazy. Like some of the side quests that you get, it just has some dark elements up in there. Yes, you have your little bit of humor, stuff like that, your chunking cuckoos and stuff like that. Like But yes, you're gonna have those moments in Legend of Zelda though. But Majora's Mask, the fact that you had this big old moon that was gonna crash down on the earth and then blow up everybody, like who would have even thought of that? And then I went back and did my history up on the mess and figured out, this was made 2 years after, or it took a 2-year turnaround from Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask. I was like, what the actual hey? And yes, unfortunately, I have not sat down and actually fully played through Ocarina of Time. I started and got a little bit through it though, but I never sat down to fully sit down and play through Ocarina of Time. It is on my bucket list of things to do, but wouldn't it be really nice if we had like a remaster version of that game? I'm just saying, Nintendo, eventually a 50th anniversary for Legend of Zelda is going to come out. I'm just saying. But anyway, I played that. I did a little Twilight Princess back on the Wii U and stuff like that. That was really nice. And then I think outside of that, I dabbled a little bit of Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2 and stuff like that. Link to the Past is one I really do like, but same thing like Ocarina of Time, I just never sat down to kind of fully go through and play through it as well though. So I was like, So at least for me, for the most part, with the 3D Zeldas, with the exception of Ocarina of Time, I usually thoroughly enjoy those if I have them and, I can sit down and beat it. Now, games like Wind Waker and stuff like that, I do have that. I managed to pick that up before the Wii U eShop finally shut down and closed. I just got to sit down and make the time to go through and play through that, and along with Ocarina of Time. But yeah, so honestly, I really do love myself some Zelda, especially the 3D Zelda. Now, 2D Zeldas, with the exception of Link to the Past, I really hadn't delved into it too much. But when Link's Awakening dropped out, what was it, in like 2019 or something like that, I did manage to go through and fully play through that game. That game was pretty nice. It had that little nice toy art style or whatnot though. But 2D Zeldas, I think there's definitely a solid place for that. I do like the fact that you got those dungeons, stuff like that, which there's some good dungeons, out there in the Zelda series and whatnot. And then there's some that are kind of like, like almost every single water temple in the Legend of Zelda series. Like, why the heck are those things so annoying? And for the people that play Ocarina of Time, I know what y'all thinking right now. Like, oh shoot, that freaking water temple though. But I really do like the puzzles, the interactions, being able to solve that, just the overall story, and Link always having that conflict, usually with Ganon or Ganondorf or something like that, him having to pull this legendary Master Sword right here, and then having to seal him at the very end of the day. It's just a really nice story. I like time and time again. I do have that on my bucket list to try to get through most of those Legend of Zelda games. Hopefully we get a lot of the 2D ones, remastered or remade in the sense of like Link's Awakening. But yeah, I really do like myself some Legend of Zelda. Now, Breath of the Wild though, that really busted down the game, because I really like myself some dungeons though. But the fact that they did an open world game, and it was kind of one of the first few, actually basically the first open world game. I mean, you had some open area-ish, like some things like with Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 before this point though, but just a truly open world like this, we really hadn't seen anything like this from a Nintendo IP. And for them to apply that to Legend of Zelda, that was just something else. I remember back, I think it was like when this game dropped in 2017, I was in college at the time. And I was going through, I remember lining up at my local Target trying to get in line and try to, get myself first a Nintendo Switch, let alone the actual Breath of the Wild game. But luckily, my Target managed to have a few copies of the limited edition. I didn't even have that like a pre-order. So I still managed to get that thing right there. So that was really cool, the fact that I was able to get it though. But I sunk so many hours up in that game. It was somewhere between like 60 and 100, especially after I was done with the DLC for the game though. And I just never thought that Zelda would be able to evolve to that point. And then, Mr. Onuma said, hey, this is going to be the future of Zelda moving forward. And in his case, that's what we're seeing right now within Tears of the Kingdom though. So I'm just really curious to see, how far Onuma can take it with his team and be able to incorporate all these brand new elements. Because now with Tears of the Kingdom, you have the sky, you have the ground level, you have the underground. And I felt like that was probably one of the main reasons why it took so long for them to be able to develop this game and get it to us, because they were just trying to figure out what new stuff they wanted to do. I knew that they were basically taking some inspiration with the crafting system, because we saw some crazy stuff with Breath of the Wild, with people doing the, little bomb trick thing with jumping on the shield and launching themselves, getting so much momentum, they're just flying on that glider. Little things like that, or just hitting that momentum on the rock really hard to the fact that they can just grab on the side of the rock and just go flying. And there's crazy things you can do with the physics engine, and I felt like that just opened the floodgates with Tears of the Kingdom, since you have the crafting and, you know, where you're able to craft your weapons or fuse and make with, you know, with that hand ability and being able to craft different vehicles and stuff like that. It's just crazy how many things we're going to be able to go through and do within Tears of the Kingdom. It's going to make it pretty much open-ended. I'm pretty sure nobody's going to have the same approach in terms of their playthrough from start to finish when they're trying to go through it and get through this game in its entirety. I'm like, oh shoot. I'm not one that usually likes the 100% games though, but depending on the itch and crave for this game while I'm going through and playing through it, it might get up there. It just might. Oh my goodness though. But yeah, so Tears of the Kingdom, the one thing I want to see out of this game, hopefully I'm experiencing this mess right now, is I want there to be a bigger focus on story. Because I think in terms of my Legend of Zelda experience, my two favorite games in the whole series is Breath of the Wild for the gameplay, Skyward Sword for the story. And those, I just want there to be a perfect blending between the two. And at least from all the previews, the trailers and stuff leading up into this moment though, it seems like they were taking some of the best aspects from a little bit of story stuff from Ocarina of Time. They were taking some of the stuff from the elements from Skyward Sword, like you're able to go between the sky and the ground and stuff like that. They're taking elements from Majora's Mask, because this story does seem to be a little bit darker. We saw that creepy, menacing looking Ganondorf right there though, the dehydrated one, and now we got the real cool, sick looking Ganondorf, like, gosh dang. But you have all of that in there on top of the Breath of the Wild open-ended world setting right there. And I think if they can fuse and put together a little bit of salt and pepper this and kind of get that thing cooking and get that thing churned up in the pot, we're going to be on to something within this game. I think it wouldn't faze me at all if those Metacritic scores are somewhere in the high 90s-ish. I'm thinking 96, 97-ish or something like that. It would not surprise me right there. I know Nintendo's doing some launch event stuff with, like, they did something with Nintendo NYC for like a pre-launch thing on the previous day and stuff like that. And I know like they had like a special GameStop where they took the statue you had too and redesigned the whole entire GameStop. I was like, what the heck though? But this is going to be a major release for Nintendo right now, as you might be currently experiencing it right now, just going through and experiencing this whole entire game though. But oh my goodness, Legend of Zelda, it means a lot. It means a lot to me. It might mean a lot to you and a lot to a lot of other people out there within the fan base though. But I hope you're thoroughly enjoying your time with Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, because I know I'm probably in right now at this second though. But if you happen to be watching this video, maybe you're just happen to be taking a little bit of a break because you don't want to overdo it, or maybe you just happen to be in those final moments before you're able to even play your copy of the game though. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to talk about with my Legend of Zelda experience, from everything from me starting off the Skyward Sword to my anticipation, hype, and wishes for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom though. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure to go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. Let me know down in the comment section down below. Are you thrilled for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? Do you manage to have your copy right now? Did you manage to buy the Pro Controller? Did you manage to buy the limited edition stuff? Maybe you got the extra case, or maybe you're one of those few that actually went out and bought that OLED Nintendo Switch as well. Y'all just gotta let me know. Is the hype real? Let me all of that stuff down in the comment section down below. So that's gonna do it in terms of today's video though. So remember y'all, until whatever video I make next, see y'all.